If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
The following podcast may contain discussions supported by science that may be considered dangerous to some listeners and conspiracy theorists. Discretion is advised.
The 3 Down Greencast is brought to you by Lucky Bastard Distillers, Saskatchewan's premier distillery, and by the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, brewed in the heart of Regina.
Ooh, welcome to the 3 Down Greencast. You are listening to the internet's only Rest in Peace, John Fraser podcast. I am Joel Gasson with John Fraser, as usual, as we have a few things to get to. The Saskatchewan Roughriders do play the BC Lions this week, but quite frankly, that isn't really one of them because it's another game where things just don't really matter for this team, and we'll just kind of watch it to get through it, and then we'll be on to the playoffs from there, which I think everyone is just waiting to get to at that point, especially when we're talking about a game where by the time we get down to it, both teams may have nothing to play for, depending on how things shake out.
That's just like last year's last week of the season. This is, again, you and I were on this rant last year. Mm-hmm. This is, again, the need for flex scheduling. I get it. It's a lot harder in the CFL, but there is some need for flex scheduling in the CFL. Although I guess this year, nothing really matters this week anyways.
No, not a ton. I mean, it's mostly positioning, which doesn't really move the needle as much as in or out type games.
Right.
Like, we talk about, getting jazzed and getting people really excited for, the games down the stretch. And this is true pretty much in every sport. Like, two teams battling to be who's going to, who has home field or home ice advantage or home court advantage, whichever one it is, or, who's going to finish where in the standings doesn't necessarily move the needle beyond the hardcores. The casuals get interested when it's, one of these two teams are playing and the winner is moving on. The loser's season is over, or this team needs to win this game to make the playoffs. That's the kind of stuff people cares about. And we don't see a lot of that in the CFL just because 66.6% of the league makes the playoffs and the season's just way too long. So,
Second, I agree with you on both those points. So, yeah, we've largely got a meaningless week coming up after, Saskatchewan's backups almost beat my Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But
we will get to John Fraser's Fraser curse attempt a little later on, because that could be the only thing that could salvage the Blue Bombers season at this point.
I think so.
We will talk about the Most Outstanding Player Award nominees that were out today from a Rider perspective, and of course league-wide, who we think might win the big one at least. And the province has decided that they are actually going to make tailgating at Mosaic Stadium, at least their end of the bargain, priority, by mentioning it as like one of two things they mentioned in today's throne speech. Not to get too political.
No.
Before we get to all that, though, there was, of course, the biggest news in the sporting world this week.
Yes.
Was the new 5-year deal for the NLL.
Yes.
In a CBA.
Fantastic. Finally, some stability.
There was not some team that made the World Series or something. I don't know.
No.
This is the thing all of Canada's talking about, and people are talking.
Which is funny because
let's ignore the fact that yesterday I didn't even know that they had signed it a couple of days ago until you told me yesterday. That's how plugged I am into things all not football right now. Other than sending you baseball. A lot of curling reels.
But there's so many good curling reels right now. Oh my God, the season's here. Or me sending you like shots we've been making lately now that the Nutana Curling Club web stream is back up and running on YouTube. So the ability to send you shots we're making is just unbelievable. But yes, biggest news in Canada this week. Not that Georgia's playing a home game in Edmonton, but 5-year CBA. ratified, which, as a guy who likes money a lot, which is why I work in sales, pretty happy that I'm going to have that money and, again, an opportunity to be back with the Saskatchewan Rush yet again.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, with that news now out, the Rush, of course, announced the return of the NLL Plus broadcast team.
Yes.
Which, spoiler alert, if you weren't listening 5 seconds ago, John Fraser is included in that once again this year.
Shocker. Along with my bro Montana, Cody Jansen, and the uber talented Heather Morrison. Mm-hmm. Like, the dream team is back for next year.
And we're not necessarily, I mean, this is kind of a plug for it, but it's not officially a plug because no one's paying us to talk about it.
No.
I guess kind of you maybe in some fashion or another. It's a bit of a conflict of interest, I suppose, but regardless. What we really want to talk about is the graphic the Rush used to announce the return of the terrific trio.
Okay.
I mean, it's professionally well done. It's fine. It exists.
Yes.
It is not necessarily something I would expect from the Rush because they're usually a little, they usually have very good graphics and social teams and posts and all this sort of stuff. And this is very sort of safe and bland. And the first thing that popped to me was your bald dome in the middle, just floating in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, what? Which, number two, I know we've talked about this before. I still cannot, because I haven't seen it in person yet.
Yes.
It has not registered in my mind that you are bald, that you have shaven your head. To me, it's like, no, you're still that guy that has some hair up there.
Not much, but some.
So, like, I sent you that reel of Cody Kleider, and I was like, yeah, he looks like you 5 years ago. Like, in terms of facial and hair, at least. He's obviously a much better curler, but...
Way better, yeah. Ryland's way better than me.
Yeah. So, that was the first thing to notice. And then, yeah, the more I look at this picture, it's just very... It looks very in memorandum of all three of you. Well, especially you and Cody. Like, Heather, at least we can see some of the rest of her body, but yeah, she's just kind of standing there weirdly. While the two of you, it looks like very much like you and Cody have unfortunately left us.
This is like we were on our way to do a lacrosse game and got ambushed by a grizzly bear is what probably happened to the two of us, leaving Saskatchewan without any...
You were in... Or was it Syracuse? Is that where you said you had like
Rochester? I almost got bugged.
Right.
Rochester,
close enough.
yeah.
Rochester, close enough. Same area.
Yeah, fuck Rochester. No, it is funny because that was the thing. I was curious.
Well, the first thing I did, of course, was send it to our group chat with Piffle's Greg McCullough, because I was like, you look like your floating dome at the time, and now that I see more like the funeral kind of thing here, was more like your floating dome was like you were like the really comically like bad at being a bad guy. So then, of course, you were kind of Bond villainish, and then of course Greg started doing his Photoshop work, which went a step too far at one point, but we won't discuss that.
No, turning me into the master of disguise, the Turtle Club, which I showed Lacey, and Lacey was like, is that kind of rude? I'm like, it's Greg, it's all good. So, yeah, I think the one that was Dr. Evil I sent to my fellow sales managers, and they thought for a minute, one of the guys, I won't throw him under the bus by naming names, but one guy was like, you look suspiciously like Dr. Evil in this. I'm like, that's because that is Dr. Evil. Let me send you the real one.
I do really like the one with the dean from Community. That was that was great. That was really good.
Again, the fastest Photoshop of the West, Greg McCullough.
Also, the small town Yellow Pages.
Yes. I was also I was pleasantly surprised. I was waiting to see what they would do with the headshot because I haven't had a proper headshot since I went bald. But obviously, they took a still from the schedule release video I did where I was very bald. So to go ahead and point this out, and as pointed out by Jake Elliott, who does play-by-play for Vancouver and I think some San Diego games or maybe Vegas this year. I refuse to wear a tie when I broadcast.
I mean, you basically refuse to wear a tie to anything. So
100% I do. Like I have a giant thick neck and broad shoulders, and it's either I wear a shirt that's a dress, I pay too much to get a shirt tailored that the second I get a little fatter, it doesn't fit me anymore, or I just don't wear a tie like anybody does anymore. So actually the last 3 dealerships I've been at, my boss, who's like the head of the dealership, never wears a tie. So Jake was, of course, giving me shit because I'm wearing a blazer and a t-shirt in this in memoriam photo of me.
I mean, if if Davis Sanchez can wear a hoodie under his jacket in the middle of August on the CFL on TSN, then surely you could just, wear a reasonable shirt underneath the jacket.
We once had a league broadcast meeting, and I forget where this goes back to my first go around with the Rush. And there was a guy on this conference call defending the fact that he wants to wear what he called a sharp sweater to every game, despite the fact we're on TV.
Like if you're does it hurt?
Does it cut his color commentator? But no, the league actually came out and they said, listen, like when you're on camera, games that you're on camera, we need you in at least a blazer and something, which to me is fair, right? It's a professional league. They're not out there mandating ties, tuxedos, anything like this. And this, again,
though I do think in like modern day sports, like a nice golf shirt is fine.
Yes, 100%. I agree.
We're not all hockey here and think you need to be wearing a tuxedo to a game.
Oh, certainly not. And if you look at a lot of lacrosse broadcasters, there's a lot of guys without ties. I mean, or you just have some guy who's so frickin' well dressed that he has to rock it at all times, and Teddy Jenner. Like Teddy,
if that's your style, that's cool. Go for it.
And that's it. That is exactly Teddy's style. But like for me, it's the usual dress shirt and suit. And this guy, who was the reason we were having the conversation, was vehemently arguing that a sharp sweater is acceptable on a national broadcast. And I can tell you, his sweater was not so sharp. It wasn't even as nice as Davis's hoodie.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen it. I've seen Justin Dunk wear it at the Grey Cup. Like, granted, he's outside and it's cold, so it's fair. But yeah, like those are like generally like nice hoodies.
Yeah. No, we're talking, this thing looked like something you'd find at Value Village and wear to like a 70s themed Halloween party. So, but yeah, still no ties, none of that. Also,
well, we also know, like, if you had your actual photo at your funeral, you'll be in house shorts. So like, so this is a step up from that still. So
maybe if you're all lucky at my funeral, maybe they will be my shorty house shorts. Just one last chance to see those short shorts. Wait till I start going full dad mode and going tarps off with house shorts. No, I can't do it. My dad did it my entire life growing up.
Yeah, no, my dad didn't do that, but yeah, that always just felt weird to me. I don't know why.
It's
like, I even feel weird like the odd time I randomly, like in the house by myself, come downstairs without a shirt on, and I'm like, this is weird.
See, and I'm the same way. I will always have a tarp on unless I'm trying to look sexy while mowing the lawn.
No.
Oh no, the tarp comes off for lawn mowing now, and like I do the dramatic like sweat wipe once in a while when Lacey's looking outside. Maybe a little flex as I start the mower, pour some gas in there. Wearing my shorty shorts and no tarp. Can also acknowledge that has literally never worked.
I'm stunned. I'm stunned that that's never worked.
Sorry for that visual, literally everybody, especially Grammy, as you are not feeling well these days.
Ooh, yeah, that should have come with a warning, I suppose.
That should have come with a disclaimer, like the episode that Jock got really mad at us when we were sponsored by Manscaped.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, I left you transitionless somehow.
Well, we had a plan for what we were going to talk about following this conversation, and we kind of got derailed from the initial plan, which was you were talking to me about how you might need me to come down there or up there,
yes,
and do a game. And I said I would do it only if we leaned into the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about or know what I'm doing. Because A, I've never been on television, and B, I don't follow lacrosse that closely.
So you'd be better than a lot of sideline reporters that have been in the league. I'll tell you that for free. So what you're saying is you'll only do it if we lean into the fact that you know nothing.
Yes.
Knowing the league, I think they'll hate that. So that means I will love it.
Me? I don't care.
Right? You're basically going to sound like Luke Wilson on the sidelines, right? I've never seen a guy on the sidelines give fewer fucks than Luke Wilson when he breaks down some aspects of the game.
Sometimes some of those feel very like, hey, talk about this. Like, it feels like those ideas have been pushed to him. And names, like he's dropping names of certain players and coaches. I'm like, there's no way you know who these people are.
No, not a chance. Especially when he's like, especially the one time that like Luke's game ball went to the fans.
That was was that frickin' Rider Bomber game this week.
Oh God, don't get me started on that one. That's why I'm already a glass of gin deep, Gas. But yes, I do think it would be great to have you. See, the problem is you're such a professional that you'd actually do the research, and even if you knew nothing, would at least sound like you knew something doing sidelines.
Maybe. I honestly, I don't know.
I mean, you wouldn't be Heather Good, because like
No.
No, Heather's great.
Heavens no.
But
no, she's a professional who does this like for a living. So yes.
Right. But hey, I still think it'd be fun. Well, and we still wouldn't record an episode of the podcast. Oh,
it would be the off season anyway. So I mean, it would be in our weird, like probably like in our weird, like one every 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks span.
Fantastic. So we wouldn't even feel the pressure or the need to do the podcast while we were in the same place.
No. Unless it happens to be during the 8N Nation week.
It very well could be, especially with Olympic trials this year.
That's true.
So
yeah, the Olympics kind of screw with the timing of that, don't they?
They really do.
I don't remember what we did last time with the Olympics.
I think we did 8N Nation after the trials.
No, we did it after. It would have been either after the Scotties or after the Olympics.
Maybe we did. Did we do 2?
No, we wouldn't have done 2. Trials were in
not a chance.
Trials were in like November.
Right, but I thought
I went up there with Jenny and we watched.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah, that was a great week. Mm-hmm. Now that I remember it, finally discovering that whiskey sodas were a fantastic alternative. No, I think we did it after Olympic Scotties and Breyer and had Haji on.
Potentially, yeah.
Ooh,
that made sense. I guess we could look back in the archives and figure out when we did it, but that sounds like work.
And work we're not going to do.
Mm-hmm. The Riders put in work against the Bombers. They made the Bombers look like a team that was not interested in making the playoffs. We're not really going to talk about that game, but we will talk a little bit about the Blue Bombers later. So we will get into that. We will get into the Most Outstanding Player Awards and tailgating, potentially coming to Mosaic Stadium. But as always, John, for the Pile of Bones Brewing Company, what is in the glass this week?
Well, I've already finished a glass of gin. Mm-hmm. Lucky Bastard Gambit Gin. And we're now going to do a live taste test with the Lucky Bastard Blue Hawaiian. Our good friend Bryce hooking me up. It took me a few weeks to finally make it up to LB. Our good friend of the show, Bryce, and sponsor from Lucky Bastard, hooking me up with a 6-pack of these along with my gin. So here we go. Holy crap, that's good. That tastes like every fun drink you've ever had on a tropical vacation. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what that tastes like.
I've requested some, but have not received it yet because the supply in Regina for Bryce was not refilled in time yet. So,
this is it's like very coconut forward, fizzy. I was recommended, and I didn't do this because I've been sitting out for a bit here while I finish a glass of gin because I wanted to do a live taste test. I was recommended by one of the workers at Lucky Bastard here that you basically get it to as close to slushy as you can, and that's the real sweet spot to drink it. Because it's like a slushy, fun resort drink. Unlike the Saskatoon Berry Iced Tea, it's only about 4.3%. It is blue, can confirm. And yeah, just absolutely delightful. And it gives that, when you go to the bar at a resort, hey, give me something fun, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, it's one of their sort of top cocktails before they started canning things, like a lot of sampling. They would roll this thing out.
Oh.
And I think at various events, like I think if you go to the actual bar at the distillery, they have it there. Like this is one of the things that's been a go-to for them for quite some time, and is not surprising that they have decided to end up in a can with it. For me, I have from Scout Brewing out of Moosomin, Saskatchewan, home of Greg McCullough, the Piffles podcast, a.k.a. Small Town Yellow Pages. I have the Straight Out of Fleming Wet Hop IPA. A wet hop IPA, for unaware, is basically there is a very small window every year when the hops are literally harvested where you can actually make a beer with fresh hops, compared to like most of the year they get like freeze-dried and everything and they get turned into those pellets they put in the beer. That's how you make beer 99.9% of the time. There's a very small window every year where you can make it with the fresh hops. They call that wet hop, and that's this version from Scout Brewing. It's wonderful. It's smooth, surprisingly smooth, because a lot of these are usually pretty dank and hoppy, but it's smooth, it's delicious, it's got a really nice aftertaste, very drinkable, highly recommend. Rebellion has one as well that they, I believe, used to call Homegrown or something. Mm-hmm. Now it's called Zilla Fresh, because they're sort of in the middle of rebranding all their IPAs under the Zilla umbrella. So I would check out both of those if that is something you're interested in trying that is like hyper seasonal that you're not going to be able to get the rest of the year.
I am definitely interested. I didn't even know that wet hops were a thing.
Yep.
But now I need to go into a store and go find them.
Like, it's the freshest hop flavor you will get out of a beer that you will ever find, because it's literally basically, okay, we pulled this off the branch, throw it in the beer. Not quite. There's more to it than that, but that's as close as you're going to get to that happening. Yes.
Interesting. How would you describe, as a lover of hops, how would you describe the taste difference between like a wet hop and a normal hop?
It's hard to say. Like, I would have to drink them side by side. But I think it just pops a little bit more when it's fresh.
Interesting. So you're not triple fisting tonight like I am?
No, I'd never triple fist. I only ever have one drink while we do this podcast.
And that's why I have all the dumb shit to say.
I mean, you probably would anyway.
That's fair, but I feel like, especially after like 2 drinks, basically since Lucky Bastards come on board, and I feel like the need to include their product along with beer. And then tonight, I also have Rebellion Cerveza just sitting here waiting for me because our preamble visit went on for a while. So, yeah, here comes some dumb shit out of my mouth.
Yes, some dumb shit indeed. There actually will be some smart shit as well, though, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the rest of the CFL have announced their player nominees for the Most Outstanding Player Awards, and the archaic system is continuing at least this year, where the teams announce their nominees, and then out of those group of nominees, we get to the next level, and we eventually get to the national level in terms of who can get it. So if you weren't nominated for an award today, too bad. You are no longer eligible to win any awards in the CFL, which is a shame. If you happen to be a really good player, but weren't necessarily, like, for example, like if you're James Butler in BC, you could have made the argument for him being, in the conversation for most outstanding player. But now that Nathan Rourke has that nomination, sorry, goodbye, good luck.
And it's not even like they slid Nathan Rourke down to most outstanding Canadian, because guess what? He got that nomination as well.
Yes, I mean that was. If he didn't get that, you'd be like, excuse me? I mean, if he didn't get either, you'd be like, excuse me?
If he doesn't win it, you could say, excuse me.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. But yes, the Riders announced their list as well, just as, of course, every other team across the league did. And I'm not going to go through the whole list. You can find it online. What I did find interesting, there's a few things that sort of stand out. And, of course, number one is the award that everyone sort of talks about is the Most Outstanding Player Award.
Yes.
And in the Riders' case, I would say, not super surprisingly, it was Trevor Harris that got the nod. What I'm about to say is not to say that Trevor Harris isn't deserving of being the nod, but he's not the guy I would have voted for. And I am quite frankly stunned that he was voted unanimously amongst, I believe, the panel of 5 or so that were voted. And it's just like, really? Not one person thought to vote for the guy who I would have voted for. And I know who a few other people would have voted for, AJ Ouellette. And I've also heard the name Malik Carney floated around as well. He was probably deserving of at least a vote, if not a nomination as well, because quite frankly, without this defense, I don't think this team would be anywhere near as good as they were.
Oh, goodness, no. Especially the last
no, granted,
6-7 weeks.
I will preface that by saying, of course, I've always been on the firm believer that is the Most Outstanding Player Award, not Most Valuable Player Award. Yes. So maybe that's where you could kind of roll that back on Malik Carney a little bit. But regardless, I don't dislike the year Trevor Harris had. I thought he was good. He had a really hot start to the year, but I think the way things have kind of gone down the stretch for him, basically since the Banjo Bowl, it's like, I mean, was it really outstanding for the year? I don't know. To me, the guy who had the best year in terms of playing his position the best, which is what this award should be, on this team at least, was AJ Ouellette. And this is not obviously coming from a spot of bias. Like, you and I were guys at the start of this year talking about how he probably shouldn't be here.
How they should have cut him. They should have spent the cap room someplace else.
And now
Those
I'm
are
saying
statements that both of us said.
Yeah, and I'm saying now he should be this team's MOP nomination as far as I'm concerned.
No, I absolutely agree. And as much as I enjoy being right, I'm also the first to admit when I am wrong, right? And that goes back to the start of the season. The way I look at the player nominees is you have to nominate somebody that was outstanding and simultaneously actually has a chance to win the award over the other guys. To me, you're just defaulting.
I mean, I don't think there's anyone on the Riders that fits that category this year then.
I think AJ Ouellette's a better case for most outstanding player. Even Malik Carney's a better case for most outstanding player.
Neither of them have a chance against Nathan Rourke, though.
But both have a better chance against Nathan Rourke.
Not really. I'd say they're statistically about the same, which is 0%.
I mean, you're not wrong, but in average years, like we get it. Like, Nathan Rourke is back. Nathan Rourke is doing Nathan Rourke things and could very well rip off like 6-7 in a row here in the next few years, right? But to me, the guy that was most outstanding and not most valuable was AJ. I mean, I even go back to little plays like him chasing down that fumble recovery. Yeah. Right? You know, he had 241 yards receiving.
He ran short yardage one game.
Exactly. That's exactly it, right? Has 1,200 yards rushing, which, is third in the league, but
probably could have 13 if he was actually able to be a running back in that one game.
Right, exactly. Instead, he was a short yardage quarterback, short pass guy. So it just, to me, watching the games, I found AJ Ouellette most outstanding. I'd put Malik Carney next, and hell, I would even look in terms of outstanding performance. I would even start going down the list a little bit for like a Keyshawn Johnson. Right? Like, I find Trevor Harris is the most valuable player on the Saskatchewan. This always comes into the conversation here.
Well, I mean, that's why football shouldn't have most valuable player awards, because if you're a good team, your quarterback's going to be good and he's going to be your most valuable player. That's just the sport.
And that is exactly why I feel like Trevor Harris gets the nod. He's not a bad nod.
No.
But to me, he's my third pick.
Yeah.
For outstanding, for most valuable. If you told me we needed the most valuable rider, I still maybe go with AJ, but I think Trevor Harris.
If we're going value, I'd lean between Trevor Harris and Malik Carney.
Right. AJ was outstanding. He had a great year, bounce back year. He was a big part of this offense, did so many things for them well.
The offense ran through him. The games where they played their best were when he played the best.
Certainly.
There were games where the offense was struggling and he was still playing fairly well. And I think they would have been better off just feeding him the football. And in those games, they didn't do it, and the offense didn't perform. And I think that shows where he was all year. And it was a career year for the guy. It was the most yards he's ever had rushing. It's the most games he's ever played. It's his second best receiving season ever. Like, I don't know what more he had to do to get this nod. I think Trevor Harris is very good. It's in his top 3 for years as well for yardage. That's great. He's playing very well. There was still far too many sort of down. The value was a little too deep at times for Trevor Harris compared to AJ Ouellette for me in terms of most outstanding player, because we brought it until that game against Ottawa, I believe, where he ran short yardage. He was basically, he had cracked the 1,000-yard mark with only 2 100-yard games. Like, it's not like he had like these, a couple 200-yard games in there or something and inflating his numbers. He was consistently every week putting up like 70 to 90 yards a game that you could rely on, which is what, if you can get that out of any player, I don't care, running back, receiver, anything, you can consistently get 70 to 90 yards a game out of a player. Like, yes, everyone loves to see a player hit that century mark, and it's a nice round number and looks cool and everything. But realistically, if you put up 70 yards a game all season, you're going to have a monster year, and that's what AJ Ouellette did.
Well, you look at outside of the game, they only rushed him 6 times against Calgary after the smoke delay.
Yep.
You look at all his games, 96 yards. There against Hamilton, he was a beast. Against Toronto, he was a beast early in the season. Against BC, when he went for 139, everything else is just exactly what you need from a running back.
Yep.
He averages over 4.5 or around 4.5 yards a carry the rest of the season. Again, the sloppy Ottawa game where he was running short yardage was the one exception. So if you can give a guy the ball an average 4.5 yards to 5 yards, isn't that exactly
in a 2-down league to get a first down? Yeah,
right. Isn't that exactly what you want your running back to do? Not to mention the fact he's got 8 touchdowns already. So, to me, the drink is not made without AJ Ouellette this year. And I say that as somebody who questioned them even keeping him on board. So maybe I have that bias that I was so critical and my expectations were so low for him this year that for him to come out and have a career year is like, oh, shit, yeah, no, you're right. He should be rewarded for my previous bias on him. But no, Trevor Harris is not a bad pick. He is the safe pick. He's just, especially second half of the season, you and I discussed even before he struggled. What is this team going to do when Trevor Harris needs to win them a game?
Yeah,
and I don't know. The last few weeks have not looked great. So, I can't think of any other outstanding player now that you look at here for the CFL potential award winners that you're worried about their performance coming into the postseason. I look at Trevor Harris and I go, okay, which Trevor Harris are we going to get in the West Final? All the other names on there, I'm like, yeah, Nathan Rourke's going to ball out in the postseason. Dietrich Mills is going to have a big game. Especially.
We'll see if he has to come here.
Well, that's it.
We'll see how BC does in winter, but that's a whole other thing, and that's not necessarily a knock on Nathan Rourke. That's just a thing that has plagued the BC Lions for obvious reasons.
Well, that's exactly. And Bo Levi, is going to have a big playoff game. Davis Alexander, I look at the names on this list and go, okay, there's 2 guys that aren't making the postseason that had pretty good years that deserve to be rewarded for it. I like Nick Arbuckle getting the nod from Toronto.
Yep.
That to me, that's cool. That guy has put in his time in the league. He, had a decent season until he got banged up with an Argos team there. But yeah, I look at all those guys and know that they're going to ball out here in the rest of the season, the postseason, and how can you nominate a guy to be the most outstanding player that we have legitimate question marks and legitimate talking points heading into the West Final?
Yeah.
That's where I struggle a bit.
Yeah, and I just, again, not a knock on Trevor Harris. I think AJ Ouellette overall had a better year. It is not the weirdest snub. There's some other award nominations in other markets that are just a little strange, but that's just always how this sort of thing goes. I think it goes without saying as Suno, since we've mentioned him enough. I also found it strange that Jameer Thurman was named the Riders' most outstanding defensive player nominee. It was not unanimous. General thought is probably basically the vote probably split between Malik Carney and maybe Tavon Campbell. And Jameer Thurman kind of rode second place votes and some other sort of votes into the spot. Because, he was good this year. He wasn't necessarily as noticeable as he was last year. He was good. He was serving. He did his job. He played well. Did all that. But I would say both Malik Carney and Tavon Campbell had more outstanding seasons.
Well, and that's the tricky thing here with the ranked balloting for the media members.
Yep.
Right, you're right. I'm certain that everybody probably had Jameer Thurman as either their second or third pick on their ballot. I don't know who has him first.
Yeah.
Again, a deserving nominee, not as deserving as the other 2 names you mentioned, and now, of course, they can't get any kind of recognition, right? So, I was intrigued to see us go with Nick Wiebe at most outstanding special teams player.
Yeah, this is a funny one. Not to disparage Nick Wiebe at all.
Great Huskies linebacker.
Because, realistically, this spot generally goes to kickers and returners, and the Riders did not have anyone of mention worth mentioning in those spots this year.
No.
Brett Lowther, we all know the struggles. They changed punters midway through the year, and Mary Alford, since the last few weeks, has decided he's gone back to 2024. Mario Alford after a good start to the year.
Yeah.
So
Fine sideline, run to it.
yeah, or overdo it way too much for some reason. No, one or the other.
Run all the way around the field for a 1-yard loss. I just love that, like, if you remember the other years that, like, where Sam Hurl was nominated, Dylan Ainsworth was nominated,
Yep.
Roland Milligan was nominated. It's like,
Well, when you're nominating the tackles guy, no disrespect to the tackles guy, like, that's important. It just means no one else really stood out in any other aspect in special teams.
No, certainly. Like, you didn't have a dynamic returner, you didn't have a consistent kicker. That one did make me giggle. Again, hey, I like seeing guys that don't get all the accolades, especially on the broadcast, getting recognized.
Yep.
Right? It is a team sport, so even that nom is pretty cool.
It's fine. I think it also would have been a good spot for basically a Lifetime Achievement Award for Jorgen Hughes.
Agreed.
Just
100%.
he's been doing it forever.
Right. I just, though, the thing that would make me laugh is, like...
I don't know how many long snappers have actually been nominated for this award.
No, because... And that's the thing. You know your guy's not going to win there. Like, special teams is 100%. It's Liam
always
Haralahu.
flashy. It's like a kicker either kicked like 95%, and there wasn't like a huge return guy, or whoever the leading returner is probably going to get it.
Trey Vavel is good. It's basically Haralahu versus either Vavel or White is
Probably,
what's going to happen, right? So yeah, it would have been great. But I think of, like, what they would have wrote about him in the news release. This is one of those weird things I always think about. And I'm like, hey, when Ariel is writing this news release, what is she going to write about Jorgen Hughes?
I don't know.
The long time he snapped a lot of balls.
It
They
will
were
be
awesome.
like any offensive lineman. Like, he's played in this many games. He started this many games. He appeared at the Saskatoon Men's Curling Bonspiel in 2019.
And then was at the provincial final after having a baby just days earlier. And then actually offered to administer first aid to a bartender who had smashed a wine glass and cut open her wrist. So all around great guy, Jorgen Hughes.
Absolutely. So yeah, he should have. I would have enjoyed him getting the nominee there for sure. The other sort of forward-looking thing that's been happening in Saskatchewan right now, you may have heard the news. You remember a few weeks ago when the Riders randomly announced that they were looking into the possibility of having legalized tailgating at Mosaic Stadium as soon as next year.
Let's go.
Sort of the first big step towards that happened on Wednesday when the provincial government had their speech from the throne, which is the annual sort of, here's our priorities for the next year, which is not much apparently. And one of the things they talked about was essentially having the SLGA set up the framework, the Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Association, set up the framework to allow this permit to exist.
Which is cool.
Which is sort of the big thing. I believe there's still like some bylaw city stuff they need to get around first. From what I understand, the mayor seems to be on board, but city council, you'll never know. So I'm not going to hold my breath there. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch there. But it does sound like there is, chances of this, like actually happening. And so the province basically says, okay, we can issue permits for this now, or we will be able to soon once they sort of figure this out. Apparently it seems like the permit is going to be held by the team. And then from there, it sounds like maybe the Riders are basically going to be a trial run on this, because I think it'll be interesting where this leads. I think that's more the interesting part. Is obviously it's fun for the fans. It's great. I think there should be the approved lot and et cetera, et cetera. Let adults be adults. Let them have some fun. It'll be fine. To me, it'll be interesting to see, okay, and I expect over, like, say this, all the legal hurdles are, cleared. This happens. The Riders get through the summer without anything strange or bad happening because of this.
Yes.
If the permit structure exists, then what's stopping anyone else from pushing to get said permit?
Which
would be by argument. So then it's like, okay, if you've gotten to the fall, let's say, and Saskatoon's like, okay, yeah, this is fine. What's to stop the Huskies to then asking for a permit?
Which would be awesome. Or another thought. Mm-hmm. I know one thing that the Rush have always been trying to encourage is let's do some tailgating.
Oof. in the middle of February in that open parking lot.
No. But not in the middle of February, right? Like it's one you're not doing from the beginning of the season.
Okay.
But this is a season that ends in April, May.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, and that's like, especially to me, like anything you can do to bring in fans earlier, get them engaged, get them a little warm and loud. Like, how cool would it be to have an official or have Rush fans tailgating? I know that was something that during the championship run in 2016 that was happening, right? And obviously it happens, you know, low key here and there, but I would love to see it for the Huskies, right? Like the Huskies have been doing something called Rally Alley.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how they get the permit for that. Again, it's like it's a fenced-in area. You have to show ID and stuff.
Yeah, like most areas, most teams in like Canada are able to do that. Like they can get a selling permit for like a specific area, but they have to sell you the beers. Like the difference here is now the SLGA is going to create this permit where you could bring your own alcohol in.
Right, which, let's face it, at the price of everything. And although I will admit, the Riders are doing a great job bringing prices down. The Rush have brought prices way down. The Blades have brought prices way down. The Berries are still the most affordable ticket for families. You know, I still think anything to help bring prices down is a good thing. Because that, to me, is going to get people in the building. Right? Like, call me crazy. Like, if you want to go, and let's say we're all adults. You know when you're going to have a day. You know when you're not just going to go and have one or two. You know you're going to go full send with your friends, with your family, and you're going to have a day. And if you have 3 or 4 of your own while having that day, well, that means you're more likely to, you know, buy a pretzel, buy some merch, buy a hot dog, buy a foot-long hot dog, right? Like, I hope that Rider fans can set a good example so we can be doing this everywhere, because it seems like that is the one thing we lack in Canadian sports is like that tailgate atmosphere. Like I've heard so many stories of guys that like, you know, you see like some of my favorite chefs on Instagram are out there cooking at, you know, Buffalo Bills tailgates, and you've seen people go through tables and all that kind of stuff, right? Yep. But I think it's something the NFL has always done. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be very progressive by this government that has bite my tongue. I hope that it works out. I hope it's something that can continue, because I think there'd be nothing cooler than me stone colding a couple beers on my way into an NLL finals game.
Absolutely. One thing that is, I guess, not working out right now and has not been super cool for you personally has been the play of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah.
And after a couple of weeks, a few weeks ago, things looked up. They beat the Hamilton Ticats.
Woo!
And then they played the Rider backups, and I guess the week before they didn't look very good either. And they lost to Edmonton. They probably should have lost to the Riders last week.
100% they should have.
And I guess the one thing I will say about this game was the fact that even though it probably cost them the game, I liked that Corey Mace kept Jack Cohn in there at the end, because you're never going to get the scenario of a close game that does not matter to you in a real regular season game against an opponent that gives a shit, to be able to throw your QB3 in there and see what he does. So
part of it, though,
so that to me it was like, okay, I think had they kept Jake Mayer in the game, they probably rustle up enough offense to kick a field goal or at least win the field position battle to hold on to win that game. But so it may have cost them the game, but I think long term it made sense to keep Jack Cohn in there.
I just want to send I've spoken to my fellow Winnipeg fans. Mm-hmm. We all want to send a cake to Jack Cohn for saving our season. or to Corey Mace for putting in Jack Cohn. Again, you're right. I from a football standpoint, I 100% agree with the decision to bring Jack Cohn in. But I also think sometimes when you have a chance to absolutely slay Goliath this year, especially with another meaningless game coming up this week.
Well, a win or a loss didn't do anything for the Bombers technically one way. They could have lost that game and still, like, all that matters was Edmonton losing to clinch a playoff spot.
But that, you didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, you did. That was pretty much the scenario. The Bombers winning
but I mean,
clinch
the Edmonton game was after that game.
Yeah, but but a Bomber win didn't clinch anything for them regardless either.
Certainly, but I mean, you still have a chance to go against a team that has been your Goliath the last few years and put at least a dent in their playoff hopes and potentially make the last week of the regular season relevant. So I don't hate, I get it from a development standpoint. I don't hate putting in Jack Cohn when they did. I just think if I'm Saskatchewan and I'm playing Winnipeg and I have a chance to quite fairly embarrass them, you do it. Like,
no, I think you stick to your plan. That was clearly the plan from the start, and I have no qualms with it.
I get it, but I think when you have a chance to humiliate your biggest rival, you do it.
Yeah. No.
Right? Like, I do see both sides.
To what end? I don't think it does anything one way or the other.
I think it sends a message.
I think the fact that it was close and they only won by whatever it was,
1 point.
Was enough. That sent enough of a message as to what the Riders are and what the Bombers are currently.
And I can tell you that that game has every single Bomber fan spiraling.
Well, yeah, we saw everything after that game. I mean, the Bombers won. Their locker room was furious, like they just got the shit kicked out of them. And right. Yeah, the fans no one was happy at the end of that game. Even the Riders were kind of upset that they lost, but I think they were less upset than the Bombers were.
They were. Well, I remember like watching this whole game, and it was not a good football game to watch.
God, no. No, there was nothing aesthetically pleasing about watching that football game.
No, nothing exciting. And I think I texted at least 4 of my different friends and family, they're all Bomber fans, just simply, what the fuck is going on? like, what is happening here? Like we're playing the Riders backups at home with us, a real chance to make next week irrelevant, and we can't fucking beat them? Like, I don't know if that is more of a testament on the depth of the Saskatchewan Roughriders right now.
I mean, in fairness, they did play most of their defensive starters.
They did.
They took out the middle of the defensive line, and that was more or less it.
But, yeah, it just... but that's the thing. Like, Saskatchewan's defense is always going to be Saskatchewan's defense. Like, you're going to have to overcome that, ideally, at some point, unless you're Winnipeg. And to me, right now, Winnipeg's only hope is go through the East and somehow stumble into a bad Montreal team somehow.
Which I don't know. I don't see that happening.
I agree with you.
I think their best chance. Their best chance is if Montreal can pull if like Hamilton collapses here and loses to Ottawa somehow, and Montreal can get first in the East. Because then you get on the road, you go to Hamilton, you can maybe pick up a win in that game. And then all of a sudden, you're in a 50-50 sort of situation in Montreal where anything could happen, right?
No, you're absolutely right. I think I will be eulogizing this era of Winnipeg Blue Bomber football here in about 2 weeks. I'll hold off on it for now. But I think if Winnipeg ends up in the West, like if they end up as the 3, it's over. It's one and done, and it's an embarrassing one and done. Like, I think Calgary or BC just fucking throttle them, well, especially BC.
Can't play Calgary.
Right, yes.
The way the standings works is Saskatchewan's obviously locked in at 1. Calgary can still finish second. BC can still finish second. But Calgary cannot finish 4th, but Winnipeg can still finish 3rd. So BC can go from 2nd to 4th, but not 3rd.
So basically Winnipeg either plays Montreal or BC. I hate to say it.
They can't
now
play
I'm going to
BC.
curse them. Oh, they play Calgary.
Yeah.
Right. Calgary go to 2. Winnipeg goes to 3. BC goes through and dominates the East.
Yeah. So the options are the Calgary Stampeders, outdoors in Calgary. I mean, I don't hate their chances there, to be honest.
No, neither do I. No. And I don't hate their chances against a overly rested Saskatchewan team before they get absolute death starred in the Grey Cup at home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. I think it's been pretty clear that Winnipeg hasn't had the offense this year, and that the Hamilton game was the anomaly in terms of what they were able to do most of the year.
That, or they've been hiding this super secret playbook that their offensive coordinator has been hiding this whole time, pissing off his entire team just to bust it out in time for the playoffs.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.